If you're looking for some travel tips to make your travels easier and to travel smarter, I've got some great tips for you in this video. But I first wanted to say that when I started this YouTube channel, one of my goals was to create a travel community, a place where we could share our ideas, our tips. And in my short time of being on YouTube, I have to say, I really am enjoying this little community that we're building. So not only are the tips in this video really great, but they're also really special because these tips come from you, the viewers and subscribers, all of you that have taken time and precious moments out of your day to comment and share what has worked for you. I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate each and every single one of you. I might butcher some of your usernames, so have a little grace for me and forgive me in advance. So firstly, I'm going to give 3 travel tips from myself, and then the rest is all you. So let's get into these tips. If you're flying and you're not using your airline's app, start using it. This tip is particularly helpful for anyone who wants to build loyalty with a particular airline. Some airlines apps have really streamlined the process to make the travel experience so much easier and better for you. For example, with some airlines apps, you can check in for your flight just by logging into the app. So they'll send you a notification, you open the app, and you're already checked in for your flight. It's that easy. And for some of them, you can save a wallet with a credit card. If you want to purchase something in flight, it just makes it so much easier. And a lot of them are designed to give you immediate updates on your flight. So if your flight is delayed, if there's a gate change, things like that. You can also download and watch a lot of the in-flight entertainment on the app as well. And I think a lot of airlines right now are really working on trying to individualize and personalize travel. And I think a lot of that is going to be done through the app. So that's something that we can all look forward to. Thank you. Second tip is for all of my folks that hate waiting in line, especially the security line. So we all know that TSA Precheck is a great resource for getting through the security line a lot faster. Check out the 2 videos here on my side if you want to learn more. I'll also link them above, somewhere above my head. But something else you might also want to consider is what I like to call the trifecta. And this is Global Entry, which also comes with TSA Precheck. So Global Entry, TSA Precheck, and Clear. Clear can be a great resource if you don't mind investing a little bit, and Clear and TSA Precheck combined can get you through the line, can get you through the security line even faster. But of course, it all depends on the airport, the season, and the time of day. But some airports do have a dedicated line just for people who have TSA Precheck and Clear. But what is Clear? So Clear is a private company. It's a membership that you sign up for, a lot like TSA Precheck. And once you're approved and you have Clear, then you can move to the front of the line. And yes, that is in front of the TSA Precheck line. But it's not in every airport and not in every city. So cities like Charlotte, Portland, Oregon, I think those airports don't have Clear. You'll want to do your research first and see if your airport even has it, and if it's something that you're willing and wanting to invest in. If you want me to make a separate video on Clear, how it works, and what my experience has been so far, leave this emoji in the comments, and that will give me a good indicator of how many people are interested in it and want to see a video on Clear. If you have a luggage that has one of those portable chargers on it, or you're bringing your own portable charger or power bank, these are all powered by lithium-ion batteries. This also includes tablets like iPads, cameras, laptops. If you have any of these things, you want to make sure that you're packing it in your carry-on only. So don't check it in, make sure it's in your carry-on bag or your personal item. And this is actually a rule with every airline, and it's based on a rule from the FAA, so it's mandated at the federal level. And this is important because if one of those batteries has a defect on it, it can cause a fire really quickly. So just make sure that you're double checking all of your devices and chargers, and make sure that they are in your carry-on or your personal item only and not in your check bag. All right, let's get into some flight tips. Anne says, take a small zippered pouch with a sewn-in loop on the end, such as a small toiletry bag. Fill it with in-flight essentials such as an eye mask, lip balm, power bank, charging cord, tissues, etc. Use a hero clip you can find on Amazon to hook it to the seat back pocket. You'll have your essentials within easy reach during the flight. No digging through your bag underneath the seat. It's also great for kids. I love this tip. Thank you, Anne, so much. It's always a really good idea to have all of your in-flight essentials right there in one place. Adding a hero clip and clipping it to the seat back pocket or to the tray table is such a genius idea. I do something similar with my little mini away case. I don't hook it anywhere per se, although now I'm thinking maybe I should get a hero clip and try to hook it. But I like to keep my little mini away case right by my side, right next to me in my seat, so I have all of my in-flight essentials right there. And anything I need is tucked away with me. Thanks again, Anne. Nathan JW had a couple of really great tips, so let's start with the first one. If you need accommodations from your airline, ask. If you need it, use the resources out there that are available. This is so true. Closed mouths don't get fed. It's crazy how many resources are out there and available to us, and all we need to do is use them. And sometimes the only thing that's standing in the way of the resource that we need or the help that we need is us asking. Something else that I find can help strictly when it comes to TSA is using the TSA app. Did you even know that TSA has an app? The best thing about this app is that at the bottom of the interface, let me pull it up here, is at the bottom, it's got dashboard, my airports, can I bring, and ask TSA. And in the can I bring, it's got a whole alphabetical list of things that you can and cannot bring. So the Ask TSA button, it's a little get in touch area where you can ask TSA a question or ask it on Twitter. It's not open 24 hours, but if you have a dire question that needs answering and you've searched all over the internet and cannot find the answer, try hopping on the app a few days before your trip or even weeks before your trip to see if TSA can help you get that question answered. The same goes with our airlines. Our hotel, try to make sure you're using the resources that are available to you before you completely give up. Another tip that Nathan JW had was that night flights are generally quicker through security, but if your flight gets canceled, you aren't getting on another one. That's a really good point and something to think about. Travel can be unpredictable. Depending on where you're going and your circumstances, you might not always get that morning flight that you're aiming for, if that's what you want. If you're flying international from the US, particularly to places in Europe, that flight's gonna be at night anyway, so it all depends. But it is something to be mindful of, that if you are taking a night flight and that flight happens to get canceled, but depending on the airline and the situation and all of that, you might get put up in a hotel by your airline. It just all depends, but knowing that little tidbit of information is something that you're going to want to keep in the back of your mind, just in case. Okay, these ones I love because Sleep Baby 17 and D Walker had the same tip. It's very simple, but it's also a good one. Sleepy Baby 17 says, pens, make sure you keep a pen. The airport staff are not going to loan you a pen to fill out those forms. And D Walker says, have a pen handy. I laugh out loud and I'm surprised at how many people don't. This is a great one. Besides, if you're traveling international and need to fill out one of those custom forms, you just never know when you might need a pen. It's just always good to have one on you. Wendy Simpson's tip is, hi Wendy, one of my favorite tips is to take a belt bag or a fanny pack, swing it around the back so it doesn't look like I have another bag when I board. Yes, I think I've done that like once or twice before and it works. Actually, something else I've done is I will put stuff in a fanny pack or a crossbody bag and, you know, swing it around me so it doesn't look like I have an extra bag. And then I put a sweater over or a jacket over so that you can only see that I have another bag from behind, but not from the front. All right, let's move on to some packing tips because there were a lot of really great tips for that. Rashonda Hartwell's tip was to use AirTags. Yes, I 100% agree, Rashonda. Thank you so much. I love using AirTags. They're awesome for keeping track of your luggage or anything else that you are afraid you might misplace while you're traveling. They're not cheap, but if you can swing it, I highly recommend. There are quite a lot of videos on TikTok of people who have been flying, checked their bag, and the airline lost their luggage, but because they had AirTags and the AirTags could point exactly to the location of their luggage, they were able to get them back. So it can also help you fight for your lost luggage if you're having trouble getting a hold of it again. Tim Burr's really great travel tip is to place a strip of colored duct tape on the inside lining of your case. Put two pieces in different places, such as the inside pocket or just kind of inside. So if someone steals your bag or rips off all of the outside identifying things, at least you have that piece of tape on the inside. Such a great idea. I actually have never thought of this before. Thank you so much. This is a great tip. I think this is also really great for people who love to check their bag and they're afraid their luggage is going to get lost and they don't really want to use AirTags or get AirTags. This is also a great thing that you can do. Any identifier that you have to help your bag set apart or to show your identification for your bag is always great. In my opinion, I feel like the more you have, the better. And what I love about this is that I too, and I'm sure like many of you, always think about putting identifiers on the outside of our luggage, right? Like a luggage tag, a piece of ribbon, a luggage tag, a piece of ribbon or something like that. But the idea of putting an identifier inside your case is something I don't think about very often. ELT 2014 says, one thing that I'm doing to help with the liquids rule situation is packing shampoo and conditioner bars. They are referring to the TSA liquid rules, the 311 rule. These shampoo and conditioner bars have become really popular over the years. I would love to try these in the future, especially if I found a brand or a product that I really enjoyed. But I do know that a lot of people, just like ELT 2014, have had a lot of success with these products. This is something to consider and try if you want to cut back on the amount of liquids that you're bringing. Gary Robinson, on the other hand, says, I don't take any toiletries. I will buy them at my destination, and my hotel always has shampoo and soap. Another great tip for toiletries, especially if you're not picky about what you like to use or you're traveling for more than a month, maybe an extended period of time, you can always buy stuff at your destination and save some precious space in your luggage. In fact, this is the very tip that Fiona Fraser had. If you're going to a city, don't bother packing body lotion, hairspray, or any other toiletry when you're happy just using a generic brand. Go to the nearest drugstore, buy what you need, and leave it behind when you're going home. So a very similar tip to Gary Robinson's tip. Something that I like to do when I'm traveling as well, either solo or traveling with friends as well, is that as soon as I get to my destination and I check into my accommodation, I will immediately go and do a drugstore run or a grocery store run. I find the nearest one and I pick up all the items that I might need, whether that be toothpaste that I forgot or any items that I may have forgotten. Also, I love to pick up a few bottles of water as well. So thank you, Gary and Fiona, for those tips. Another toiletry tip here is from Claire Driscoll. Hi, Claire. Fill your toiletry bottles, see how long they last before you actually leave for your vacation. This will give you a good indication of how much you actually use. You could test this out months, days, weeks before your trip. Now, I really love this tip because I'm a big fan of testing things out and trying different things. Along the same line, I also love to do this with hairstyles, especially if I'm traveling during the summer. This is when my hair tends to not cooperate. What I'll do is test out a few different hairstyles during the week, see what works, see what doesn't work, so that when I'm on my trip and it's time to do something with my hair, I already know what I can do. I already know what works. Now, when it comes to actually packing your clothes, Nicole Hatcher has a great tip. I roll my clothes with whole outfits. So I'll roll a dress with my undies, bra, and light jacket that I plan to wear together. I love this, Nicole. This is a fantastic way to stay organized. Love this tip. Speaking of rolling clothes, Estapique has a tip as well. If you roll your clothes, put them in your case top to bottom. This uses the space between the handles. So if they're talking about what I think they're talking about, I think this is what they mean. And this is perfect. Just like Esta said, this is great if you love using the rolling method and that's your preferred method and way of packing. And this is great especially if you don't use packing cubes, but you love to roll your clothes and you want to make the most out of the space in your luggage. All of the space here can be utilized in some way. Autumn Rose, hi Autumn, has a great and simple tip when it comes to packing your clothes. And that is, don't pack clothes that ruin other clothes, because you'll be putting everything in together. I actually find that this happens a lot with newer clothes that haven't been washed yet, because the color might bleed onto other articles of clothing that you have. Whatever the case may be, you know your clothes and the belongings that you're bringing with you, so just pack them as carefully as you can. This is also a tip if you love to carry your own reusable water bottle like I do. Definitely make sure you're using a water bottle that can close and lock and the lid closes tightly, because I have definitely been on a few too many trips where my water bottle is full and I've packed it and it's leaked. It's leaked everywhere, all over everything. And then I have to spend time now airing and drying everything out so that all of the wet stuff that was in my bag gets dried as well. So if you're heading to Europe or the UK, especially in the winter, Miss Mayflower's tip is going to be very useful. They say, if you're going to Europe in fall or winter, bring silk long underwear. It lays smoothly without showing and is surprisingly warm. You can wash it in the sink and it dries so quickly. Keeps your clothing protected from body odor so that you don't have to clean it as often. Ooh, now this is definitely something that I'm gonna have to try. Long silk underwear. I love that. So an extra tip here, and something that I like to do, I like to pick up warm weather items and hot weather items at those destinations or in those countries or cities that have that kind of weather. For example, for me, a trip to the UK or a trip to London is not complete without me first stopping into M&S and making sure I pick up some thermal underwear, some undergarments, travel umbrella, even a new coat. I have bought 2 coats now in London. And that's because a city like London is gonna have way more and better options for cold weather, because that's the weather they have. They're equipped for it. So if you're traveling to that place during that time period, you could probably find some really unique pieces, save a little space in your luggage. Just like Miss Mayflower says, pick up some long silk underwear, and this is stuff that you can pick up in those cities instead. Caroline Patrick has a really great tip and reminder about travel adapters and converters. One thing about travel adapters is that some are only adapters and don't convert the power usage. Make sure that you don't plug something in that will fry your electronics or the outlet. The voltage in Germany, where I travel to, is 230, and here in the US, it's 120. It's an absolute must for me to bring a bigger converter so I don't burn up my phone or hair straightener or mess up the house that I'm staying in. Yes, Yes, yes. Thank you, Caroline. This is a really great tip. If you are traveling internationally, especially to Europe, here is the difference between an adapter and a converter. I'm gonna keep the door open because it's really hot. So different countries run on different voltages. So for example, just like Caroline said, in the US, we run on 120 volts. And some countries in Europe, they run on 230. Like Spain, Germany, Greece, for example, they all run on 230 volts. So an adapter helps you plug your electronic into the outlet of the country that you're in because they're shaped differently. But a converter changes the actual voltage, and you would need a converter for something like a curling iron or a hair dryer. And there are also a lot of appliances that are dual voltage. But always double check your appliance to see which voltage it uses. It should be written on the plug or somewhere on the device. Karen von Bargen? Sorry, Karen. I tried packing cubes on a 5-week trip to Chile and hated them. I'd recommend trying them on a short trip before you go all out. You can overpack really easily with packing cubes, not that I did, and I hated not knowing what was where. I love this tip, and here is why. Because I love using packing cubes. They're my preferred method of packing. However, they are not for everyone. And Karen is absolutely right. Sometimes you need to try things out and test things before you go all in. Just because something works for someone else doesn't mean that it's gonna work for you. Don't be afraid to try things, to experiment with things. Don't be afraid to buy 1 or 2 packing cubes, try them out, and if they don't work, return them or give them to a friend. Experiment with different packing methods, experiment with different tools and resources and different ways of doing things. This person just came next to me. I didn't even see them. And finally, for all of you overpackers out there, Bethany and Christina have a little tip that you may not have considered before, especially if you're traveling domestically. Bethany says another option is to ship things home from the local post office. Just be aware though, shipping things from Italy, you may beat your items home by a few weeks. Christina says, mail things home or to family members. I like to shop on vacation so I can bring even less stuff and will mail things home if I've brought too much or I no longer need them. Ask your hotel what is complimentary because you'll be surprised what they have. I love this. I too have done this a few times, especially when I'm traveling domestically. Maybe I bought too many things, or I just don't have enough space in my suitcase and I don't want to let things go. And my camera definitely died. But what I was saying was it may not be the cheapest option, but hey, when you're in a bind, it is an option nonetheless. If you're looking for some great travel tips, definitely make sure you check out this video right here. In the next video, I'm going to be sharing more travel tips from you all, except for my solo travelers out there. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. And of course, that's Atlanta for you. Sorry if it's loud. Trying something different. This is what I get for trying something different.